Joe Flacco named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. This shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention. And really, if you look at the structure of the competition over the last 3 or 4 months, you get a clear picture now of how Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees have run this whole thing. And going back to the spring, they tried to maximize the amount of reps and amount of information that they get from their quarterbacks. So they went to what's called a two-spot, basically running two practices at once. And again, they were trying to gather information on Kenny Pickett, on Dylan Gabriel, and on Shedeur Sanders. And Joe Flacco got a lot less work in the spring, which essentially was the coaches saying, you've got a first-round bye into the quarterback competition in the summer. That put Joe Flacco in the catbird seat to win the quarterback competition in the summer. And when we got to the summer, the way things were structured in the summer told you a lot about where they were at. They left the door open for the rookies to compete, but Kenny Pickett was the only one who really had the amount of work that he would have needed, was getting the amount of work that he would have needed to win the starting job. Now, again, that door was left open. Like if Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel came back and wowed everybody, then they would have increased the amount of work that those guys got in practice. But as it stood, they wanted to get a look at Kenny Pickett versus Joe Flacco. Then Kenny Pickett gets hurt. So Dylan Gabriel gets a few more first-team reps. Shedeur Sanders still the developmental guy. The Browns told you where they were at in this the whole time through their actions, which was Kenny Pickett was the guy who had a legitimate shot to beat out Joe Flacco for the job. Dylan Gabriel had shown enough as far as his aptitude for the offense to go into a game if they need him to go into a game. And so they wanted to open the door for him to get some first-team reps to work with the starters in case they ever have to put him into a game. And if he had shown more, then maybe he would have earned more reps. And then Shedeur Sanders was seen as the developmental prospect. That's what the Browns were telling you with their actions. They were always trending this way, and now Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback. Now, I understand that this is a team in a transitional phase. Myles Garrett's getting older. Denzel Ward's getting older. Joe Bitonio's getting older. They've got guys across their roster that are getting into the back nine of their careers, which is part of the reason why you trade the second overall pick in an effort to get younger across the board. So the question, and I think this is a fair one for Browns fans to ask, is why would you waste your time with a 40-year-old quarterback when you are trying to get younger across the board, and this isn't a team that's competing for a championship right now? And my answer would be because you still have to field a team in 2025. You still have to give the guys in the locker room, the Wards, the Garretts, the Bitonios, the best chance you possibly can at winning in the here and the now. And if you look at the start of their schedule, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Pittsburgh in the first 6 weeks, that's a really tough go for any quarterback. And putting a rookie quarterback into that situation would be a really, really, really big ask. And so you have to give the guys in the roster the best chance to win if you want to hold on to the locker room, if you want your guys to be able to look at you with a straight face, because those guys don't care about your 3 or your 4-year plan at quarterback. They don't care what your quarterback room looks like in 2027. They want to be given the best chance to succeed both as a team and individually right now. You owe it to them. And as of right now, Joe Flacco gives them the best chance to do that. Now, if you get later in the season and you're at 2-8 or you're at 4-9, and now you're talking about being in a place where you have to evaluate your roster, of course, veterans will understand that. But when you're talking about starting a season and getting a team ready to go play 17 games, I think it's almost impossible to say no. We're gonna throw our quarterback room into a developmental phase, and we're going to throw our season overboard in the name of trying to identify what we have in that quarterback room when we're not even sure that there's anybody that's going to be there and even next year. So this is a sensible decision for Kevin Stefanski. I understand why he did it. Joe Flacco is the Browns starting quarterback. It's the right decision for the Browns right now.